And now, to honor America, please join in the singing of our national anthem. Representing the three-time Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils, Arlette.
I feel like I'm at a game. Oh my gosh. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Happy Devils Sunday! This is the Let's Go Devils podcast, season 4, episode 12, titled The Devils' Losing Streak is Over. What's next? Streaming live on Facebook Live, Twitter, Periscope, YouTube Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network. I'm here with Beer Baron, Shorts Guy, and Scotty of SiriusXM, Liquid Metals, Scotty, the Iron Man. The Iron Man. This does all these podcasts.
Yep.
Or
cue up some Black Sabbath. Boom.
That'd be great.
Boom. All right, I'll do this all night. I'll stop. I'll be humming Black Sabbath. My friend Eddie from this band, King. If you guys ever heard of him, KYNG, check him out. Called California Heavy is their style. But he can literally like hum every Black Sabbath solo, like boo boo ba 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 boo ba ba boo boo ba boo boo ba ba. It's hysterical because like he can literally do just one after the other after the other after the other. Hordes up to him. It was just his birthday recently.
Isn't that called
look at
acapella?
Beer Barons. Look at Beer Barons shirt.
Look at that.
Right.
Fancy.
There you go.
Finally came in.
If I would have known, I would have worn mine tonight.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was working on lesson plans right before. That's why I got here at 9 o'clock.
Come on, stand up and
I
model
would,
first.
but
Come on,
I'm afraid
let's go.
All right.
Give him the close up. Give him the close up. Come on, look at that. Woo! Let's get a little spin around. Come on, spin it around. There.
I can't really. I don't have a lot of room over here.
Come
I don't have a lot of room.
Give us a little, once around so we can see the jersey and everything. Come on.
I literally don't have a lot of room to move in here, my friend. I'm not being.
my God.
I'm not just joking around.
Oh boy.
I could take out the whole backdrop. Remember that one time that happened when the backdrop fell?
That was great. Yeah.
We
just kind of kept
we
going.
were kind of
too, I
hoping
think.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were kind of.
Well, that was like we
Stooges
started the
type
show,
moment
and there was a
right
lot of. Yeah, there was a lot of bad things going on during that show, and then like the backdrop fell on my head, and it like loosened everything up, and we were good.
It looks nice though. How's it fit?
It's crispy, very crispy. I love it. Fits all right. Fits good. I think I'm slowly growing out of the large area. I got to start working out.
Okay.
That's not good.
I know.
As he chugs this big, massive beer, he's like drinking like
Yeah,
a
right?
pitcher of beer in his hand, like yeah.
Should probably take a sip out of this official Let's Go Devils podcast mug
Mug.
of beer. But,
Mm-hmm.
but anyways,
So how's it going? Groovy
it's
little
going,
jersey,
boys.
nice sweatshirt.
Yeah, I got. Yeah, these it's good
Got
times.
nice
The Devils
sweatshirt.
actually won tonight, so that's always.
I know.
First
First time in a while. It was good to see tonight that the Devils held a tight game for basically the entire length of the game, and then were able to hold that lead in the third after scoring that late goal, which got switched from originally they thought it was Zaka to Palmieri, which kind of goes with the whole hockey day in America, which is pretty rad. Because they had spoken about if that Hughes goal would have counted, that would have helped with the narrative of Hockey Day in America. But turns out Palmieri gets it. Not as clean of a goal as that original Hughes goal, but still an American-born player getting this win for the Devils, which was nice. Scott Wedgewood has the only 2 shutouts of the whole goalie core that we have this season. Which who would have thought that would have been the case? I think Beer Baron's
Yep.
muted.
Yeah, did you mute yourself
Uh-oh.
there?
Oh no, that's what happens when you
Oh,
model.
boy.
Uh-oh.
What happened was
I unplugged
Beer
myself,
Baron-
guys. Hang on, I unplugged
Yeah, when he was
myself.
modeling, he unplugged.
No. This is the
sound-
same
Of
when
course.
he was. This is the same when he was a singer too in the band. I'd be sitting there behind the drums and I'm like, we can't hear you. You're like, unplug the microphone. You stepped on the cord when you were jumping, dude. You unplugged.
Hold on, Beer Baron. I'm logging
him
in.
and the bassist. At least he wasn't as bad as our bassist Joe, who somehow unplugged a wireless. We still can't figure out how he
How
actually literally
the
did
hell
that.
do you do that?
He literally at some point
That's-
ripped the wireless thing out of his bass at one point during a show. That was a grand moment there. But Beer Baron was
Yeah, that's
about
a-
to say something. Goaltending wise, I will say we were talking about it in the post game of all the things I was impressed with. I wasn't too happy with the 40 shots, but I was very, very happy with Scott Wedgewood's performance. And I'll throw this over to you, Short Guy. I don't know. When I see Aaron Dell out there, nothing against him or anything like that, I feel like Wedgewood is just like lightning quick compared to him. And Dell is a big body. He takes up a lot of space, but I feel like so much more confident with Wedgewood in goal. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but what'd you see from him out there today? Because he was all over the place.
Yeah, he was all over. And Wedgewood is a quicker goalie. His reaction skills are really good, and that is part of his game. And you're right, Dell is a big body, and I think that's his game. We've also seen Wedgewood. This is his second go around with us. We've seen a larger body of Wedgewood's work
check microphone.
than we have with. Hey, there he is.
Cool. I disconnected.
yeah,
I told you I had no room to move.
Well, hey.
Yeah.
We've seen a much larger selection of work from Wedgewood where we haven't seen with Dell, and Dell's games just have the Devils haven't played well. They didn't play well against the Islanders on Tuesday when Sam and I were there. So we didn't get to see. I thought Wedgewood played very well in that. Dell played very well in that game on Tuesday. But I just think we've seen much more of Wedgewood. We saw him carry the team for a couple games, 2 weeks almost, a week and a half before all this kind of
Even
went to
in
hell.
losses.
And
Even
even in losses.
When Mac Black, before we got completely shut down, it was Mac Black who went out for the COVID protocol first, and Wedgewood came in. Yeah, and even in the losses,
And Comrie.
he was
And
strong.
Comrie, too.
And
he played what, 1 game, 2 games,
One or
think he got
two.
the- 2. I think he got a win against the Islanders, but
and he's at bingo now, right? I believe.
no, he got claimed. He got claimed.
he got
by
claimed by Winnipeg.
Edmonton. Or Winnipeg. Yeah,
No, Winnipeg. Winnipeg.
Was it? But
Yeah, I believe it was Winnipeg.
well, let's not also
I
forget that during the training camp, I say training camp very loosely because that was all of 3 days. Lindy Ruff was singing Scott Wedgewood's praises. He kept saying how good he looked, and how confident he was in Wedgewood, and especially after Crawford kind of had to leave the team, that was the case. There's a weird statistic that I want to point out. I was reading this the other night. The Devils, Dallas, and the Sabres are the three teams that were impacted the most by COVID. Whether the amount of players that were actually infected with the virus, and they have had the worst record since coming back from that extended break due to the COVID outbreak in their respective teams. Listen, Buffalo was a mess before. We were kind of a mess before, but Dallas is a pretty damn good team. So is it a possibility? Getting in on pillow action.
No,
is it a possibility that a lot of this is
careful when you get this for your dog? It's called the indestructible ball. It's great for bulldogs, but it's hang on, I gotta put this away. You guys continue.
Okay. But yeah, is this losing streak a product of COVID outbreak in the locker room? So I don't know. Maybe it could be.
Yeah, in the group, Ray Leo asked just that basic question. Did COVID affect this team more than we thought? And I'm gonna have to say yes. And I said this when we got shut down. That last game that we played before the shutdown against Buffalo, the team in the locker room and all those post-game videos that came out just looked like a team that was gelling and that was on the ascendancy. And then we paused for 2 weeks. Now, that was also the time when all of the teams were starting to get the feel of the season. And I was talking to Little Steve of the Hockey on Tap podcast after we played on Friday. We were talking about this exact thing. While we were on pause, all the other teams were continuing to play and continuing to work out their early season kinks, where we lost those 2 weeks and we are now in like week 2, week 3-ish of where everyone is in week, whatever we are, 6, 7, 8. So we're at least 2-3 weeks behind the rest of the league. And I do think that hurt us. And then just in the physical makeup of it all, we don't know to what extent these players had COVID. We don't know if they had, real light cases, if they had severe cases. Obviously, I don't think anyone was hospitalized. We probably would have heard that. But we also don't know the long-term effects of this virus on these guys' bodies. We don't know if they're going through some kind of issues like that. We just don't know, and that's not just hockey and Devils related, but that's I think just in general with this virus. We don't know the long-term effects, and we see it on the news that people have issues for weeks to months. So it impacts everyone. I don't think these guys would be any different. So yeah, I do think it's a combination of the COVID issue and the fact that we lost all that time, whereas all the rest of the teams around the league, and especially in our division, had that time to continue to build up and gel, and we didn't.
Yeah, and there's also the fact of like not being able to practice. All of us here have, I coached for a little while. It wasn't on any kind of high school or college level or anything crazy like that. You played in college. You coached in high school. How important is practice? It's where you work out all the little minor details that you're seeing in the game where you're like, all right, hey, let's slow everything down. This is where it broke down. And you could start to really put pieces together and move people in the right position and be like, look, this is where you're fundamentally breaking down. This team is built, almost primarily out of younger players. And some of them, yes, have been in the league for a while, but there's also a lot of new pieces to it. There's a lot of rookies that are in the lineup. And especially these rookies are being thrown into the PK, thrown into a lot of high-pressure situations where if you're not able to correct it, look, you can watch film all day. Film is great, and you can learn a ton from film. But there's a complete difference in sitting down in front of a TV and watching a film and going out on the ice and being able to adjust and move people in position and actually physically see where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, and then along with that, the tempo of the practice. I can't imagine they're having high tempo practices as regularly as they would prefer. To be honest, after the 2-game debacle against the Rangers, those guys should have been subjected to a bag skate today or tomorrow, just to be like, hey, if you don't want to put maximum effort into the game, you know what? Let's put maximum effort here now, and you're going to skate till you throw up. But they're not able to do that. So none of that plays into a factor. I feel like we're becoming a broken record, bringing up lack of practice. I know they are practicing, but to what degree and to what intensity is definitely a question. But, we're not the only one with this issue. Other teams around the league have the same issue. So I really hate to bring it up as much as we do, but it is a factor. But we're not the only ones with this factor. It's the reality. And like you said earlier, I was surprised when I looked at the standings the other day and saw Dallas as far down as they were. This is a team that, were a game or two away from being Stanley Cup champions, not too long ago in October, and here they are at the bottom of the league. So it's just an odd season. We knew it was going to be an odd season coming into this. Tonight, but then you see a game for us, with the Devils. You see a game like tonight where we can play a tight game against a team like Boston. Go all the way almost to the duration. 0-0. Score late in the game, hold the game, and win, and then you're like, well, where the hell was that team on Thursday when we lost 6-2 against the Rangers? Where the hell was the team that lost to the Rangers on Tuesday, or earlier in the week? Where the hell was that team against the Islanders? Sorry, yesterday and Thursday against the Rangers. But where the hell has this team been when they come out with a performance like today? And then who knows
after
if they're
playing
going to be
back to back and then having to travel to Boston too.
Exactly.
On top of that. Yeah,
with our backup goalie in,
technically our third string.
I guess, yeah. I mean, but it's that's really the frustration of this team is, where the hell have they been? It's basically the question. Where have they been? I know I saw a quote that Lindy Ruff thought that it was that Rangers game yesterday was embarrassing. For the coach to come out and say that the game was embarrassing. It should be is right. But damn, this is the team we know can be there. It's just a matter of where the hell have they been.
Mm-hmm. You okay, Scotty? You look like you're staring into space.
No. No, I'm just
that deep thought of why does this team suck?
No, yeah, I'm just in that's basically it. I'm in complete disagreement with everybody. I don't think the team played very well today. They just got lucky, and Scott Wedgewood had an amazing game. They gave up 40 shots. They lost, 54% of their faceoffs. It's the same old stuff. The fourth line was the most energetic line. Jack Hughes was trying to do everything, and no one else really did anything. I don't know. I'm like a month out, trade deadline. I said this on the post game. If your name's not Jack, Nico, or Ty, you could. That's it, man. Those are the only three. Who on our team now is gonna be on our team in a couple years?
Wow, you want to keep the young core, but we kind of
the young core isn't here. That's your young core. Your young core is Walsh, Ball, Foote, Mercer, Holtz, Ahoyuk.
Okay, well.
They're not here.
So
they're not here yet. You got three.
So let's hypothetically jump onto this train, okay? Because obviously this team is barreling towards another top 3 pick, or barreling towards.
Kulikov is going to be traded. You're not going to keep Sammy Vatanen. Ryan Murray. Ryan Murray's been nice, but he gets hurt. He was good defensively today. I think he really made the difference being back there. I thought he played very well, but unfortunately he gets hurt. This is his last year on his contract. Do you re-sign him? I don't know if you're going to do that. PK, I think PK's been playing good. He's been putting up points. He had another assist today. I know people are really down on PK for some reason. I'm not. I feel like he's doing
defensively. I don't know, dude. Defensively, he's
not.
Blunders.
You have him here for his shot, though. You have him here for his shot. You don't have him here for defense. You have him here for offense. And he's been producing. He's not a Norris. Trophy defenseman anymore. That was years ago. He's here to make that offense happen. That's why they have Kulikov with him because Kulikov is a shutdown dude. So that's, I mean, for points, PK's been putting up points. Now he's got his shot is finally starting to get through. I mean, he was missing the net like crazy, you know. But hey, I'm all about it. The more he puts up, the more he might look attractive to someone at the trade deadline who might be willing to make that sacrifice if we eat some of that money. That might be, you know, he keeps putting up points. You never know. You make some. Well, yeah, you make a sacrifice. If he gets, eat some of the contract.
If he gets red hot, if he gets red hot,
yeah,
sure. But I mean, like, so looking at this team, Kyle Palmieri putting on a showcase for the Boston Bruins is great because I feel like the Bruins still covet Kyle Palmieri, but wouldn't give up what we wanted last year. So looking at the players that we're more than likely going to send off, right? You have Gusev, who at this point you could get a fourth rounder for because he's doing squat. He's got boatload of potential, but that boat hasn't shown up the dock yet. Then you have Palmieri, who's another one. He's got a ton of potential. You have Kulikov. You have even Miles Wood. Even Miles Wood right now. Hell, you could actually get more for Miles Wood if you wanted to trade him than you could get for Kyle Palmieri because Wood is trajecting. Wood is trajecting up. But anyways,
it would be like trading Coleman.
Both Wood and Bratt have 2 years left on their contracts. Severson and Janssen have 3 years left. PK's got 2. So, I mean, those are going to be attractable pieces. Like, we got, I don't know. I just this past week with the Rangers games, those hurt. I don't know. Those were like soul crushing.
They did. They did
to see all that happening. So and when we look back at this season, I feel like when we look back at this season, like a year or two from now, we're just going to be like, how in the hell did they even win any games? Like with everything that has gone on here with the no training camp, the no practices, the shutdowns and everything like that. I just have this feeling that like 2 years from now, we're going to look back and think it's a Nico getting hurt 2 games into his captaincy, takes a freak puck to the face. Like, what else like crazy stuff can go wrong here in this season for the Devils? I just have that feeling like 2 years from now, we're just going to like look back and be like, they never had a chance, like, but
well,
so
we thought that going into this.
Well, no, don't say that because I know I've said 500, but plenty of people right here, I'm looking at 2 of them, are like, no, I think this team could be a 4th place, sneak them in the playoffs.
Hey, wait. Yes.
Oh, now it's wait. Sam Wu, get on here because I call Sam Wu out on this every post game. Sam Wu, get on here.
But you know what? They were
these 2 were saying the exact same thing.
Yeah, of course we were. When they were looking great, and I kept saying, what did I kept saying though? In the beginning of the year, I kept saying, I hope this isn't fool's gold. And guess what? Pyrite, baby. That's what it was.
They may turn it around and rip off. I mean, it's tough though because they got the Caps. We were talking about they got Caps and they got the Islanders for 3 in a row. Poof! Like that's a tough stretch right there. We're playing all tough. Maybe if we had the Red Wings for like 2 or 3, but we're not getting the Wings this year, Like maybe we have something to get our confidence going again, But like that
was supposed to be the Rangers.
Exactly.
That was supposed to be the Rangers
and the Sabres, and we've been bad against both of them. So
the Sabres for some reason they're almost as worse as us, if not worse, and we can't find a way to even beat them. My teammate JJ is a Sabres fan. Yeah, that's the hell of this team. We find a way to beat Boston, but we just lay an egg against the Sabres, who got destroyed 5-2 3 games in a row by the Islanders. Like, it's such a confusing season. And, Scotty, you're probably right. We will look back on the season and go, what the hell? Like we could probably do an analysis of this season in 2-3 years and be like, how? Like, how do we beat Boston, but not beat
while we're looking at that Luke Hughes jersey in the shop and going, man, I can't believe. Hey, but we got the Hughes brothers. Who cares, right? Like,
oh, come on. The NHL will find a way to screw up this draft and give it to some mid-table team instead of a team like us that deserves it or needs it.
Yeah.
They'll be doing the draft and be like, placeholder team for 1st overall.
Yeah, right.
Again,
we never know. We may turn it around, but But a lot of these guys, we had Chico popped on the post game. I don't know if you guys got to hear it the other day, and he asked us a question. Who's the sniper on this team? And it got me thinking. Look at this team now, and analyze it.
Setup.
Not with your heart, not with your brain. Look at the players on this team. Tell me which ones you think could actually be playing on the first line. For me, there's only one right now.
Which is Jack Hughes.
Yes, and Nico.
Yeah, but here's the caveat to that. It's like we have a restaurant full of waiters with one cook.
Well, we got a bunch of third liners and fourth liners.
We got a lot of setups.
It looks.
We got a lot of.
Guess what? We already got a fourth line though.
Yeah.
We already got a fourth line. We
got
a nice.
Guess who came back tonight?
Right. See. So so now you've taken away half of the positions that a lot of these guys should be in. All right. So here's my better question for you. We all know the answer. The first line is either Nico or Jack. That's the only two on our team right now that can qualify as a first liner. Who would you say can qualify as a second line talent on our team? Obviously, Nico and Jack as well. I mean, they're good enough to play on the first line. If we get someone even better than them somehow, yeah, great. But, we have them. But, okay, besides Nico and Jack, who on the team do you think would be talented enough to play on the second line? And remember, and don't look at just totals because we've seen when Miles Wood moves up to the second line, it doesn't work. So who? No,
I'm not talking about. I'm talking about currently the way that everything is playing out is Zacha deserves to be in that conversation. Zacha deserves to be in that conversation. He's been 14 points in 14 games. I know he's a lot of people are like, he's finally here. And it's like, pump the brakes because it might just be like one of those hot streaks that he's on. But I feel like he's moved his way into the conversation of being into that second line. I think he's starting to find his footing as a scorer. Mm-hmm. He's finding his footing around the net. So I would put him in that conversation. I think Jesper Bratt could definitely be in the second line. Listen, the Nico, Zacha, Bratt line.
We're not looking at could. We're thinking who?
Okay,
definitely.
Then that's my answer.
We're building a team here.
Yeah, and then that's my answer is Bratt, Nico, and Zacha. Assuming Nico's healthy, because we saw what was starting to happen when he was healthy. Once he got his feet under him,
I'm not asking you to put lines together. I'm just asking you the quality of their play.
Yes,
so you
and
think
that's my
Jesper
answer
Bratt,
for the second
you
one.
think Jesper Bratt can live on the second line for the New Jersey Devils, future to come?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Shorts guy? I agree with you on Pavel Zacha.
I'm struggling to come up with with someone that can live there, for the future to come. I mean, Pavel Zacha is the only one that's kind of.
I used to think Palmieri, but this season,
that's where I
can't.
was. That's where I was going, and I was trying to find ways to put him there, but he just hasn't been doing very well at all. Pavel Zacha seems to be the only one that's consistent right now. Like Beer Baron said, that stat I heard it tonight with 14 points in 14 games. That's pretty damn good for a player that I think a lot of people were pretty much ready to ship away and write off last year. Really, definitely Zacha is the one that I come up with. Other than that, we have no teeth. With Chico asking who's a sniper, that's been our primary problem. The game against the Islanders on Tuesday, we had no real good shots. We were kept to the outside. No one was able to get to the middle till the very end. Someone got to the middle with 12.2 seconds left. We just don't have that good scorer that can get in there, and that's really our problem. There's no teeth to our offense. It's a lot of let's put it on net and maybe try to crash, but there's no one that is just lights out. Hughes is, but he can't win everything for us. Oh no, agreed, and that's what I was getting to. He needs that support. He can't do it alone. Yeah. Really, the only one that I can come up with is Zacha for that second line.
Me too. And that's what I thought too. Nico, Jack, Pavel. After that, you have a lot of guys that are in that. The rest of your team is all in that third. A lot of could be, a lot of third line. Like, this would be a real, I foresee if Jesper Bratt was on the third, wow, he'd be a great sneaky piece on the third line, you know? Travis Zajac, I'm sorry, I love Travis, but he can't play up in those top line minutes anymore. Like,
Not anymore.
I love the guy to
Not
death.
anymore.
He's a warrior. He's a warrior, but it's just, you know, it's father time. It happens to everybody, you know?
Yep.
Palms is not scoring. He's taken a lot of bad penalties.
Bad,
you know, so
lazy penalties,
so
lazy penalties.
If we're looking forward now, and we're saying, oh, our core, that's 3 guys on the offensive side. That's not really
okay.
I mean,
but
granted, Nico and Jack are big pieces, but I think the rest of our core is not here yet. There's a lot of our core that's not here.
And that core could be sitting over
Nolan Foote
in the patch. It could be sitting in the patch ripening right now, where we have Dawson Mercer, who's been lighting it up recently, put up another hat trick yesterday. You have Alexander Holtz, who is just gushing with talent, and then you have Nolan Foote, who's a bona fide sniper. So we have, but that's the problem, though. It's unproven commodity, right? In juniors, in AHL, you could have these kids; they could be lighting it up. And we saw this with players like Quinville. Quinville in the AHL could light it up. You bring him to the NHL, that dude would disappear like a fart in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem is like you need somebody that's going to be a bona fide scorer. The thing that the Rangers have that I'm envious of right now is they have straight up murderers on their team. They have a Panarin. They have somebody like Chris Kreider who's finally figuring it out God, it like kills me to give any praise to that team. But the reality is you have their big time guys are starting to come through. Zibanejad has not really come through recently, but everybody knows that he's got the talent to eventually break out of it. Then you have Lafreniere, who is finally said it right, who is finally starting to come around, and you have Kakko, who has tons of potential. So that team is loaded with snipers. Loaded. We have a lot of setup without a lot of finish. But this has been the hallmark of this team since we were winning cups. You know, you would have like the Eliashes, you'd have like certain guys that would, you know, be your finishers, and then we had Kovalchuk at one point. That was the pinnacle of finisher that we've ever had on this team. Ever.
And we've always had like a 30 goal. We've always had like a 30 goalish guy, like all the time at least. Like we've
never had that like dude that just 50 goals, like an Ovechkin, like a Kane. Like I know those guys are a dime a dozen, like not dime a dozen.
We had
like,
a couple. I mean, Patty had a 40 goal series. Obviously, Gianta. You know, we were talking about it the other day. Actually, the 01 team, Mogilny and Elias, both in the 40. That was that year that they lost to Colorado.
That team was. Don't bring it up.
I still say it's the best team that they ever had. Oh
yeah, they should have won that year.
But anyway,
I don't think
going
forward,
they used to have that. I got to give that to Lou. Like, you know, Lou would have us with like someone like that. You know.
Yeah, but Lou also was able to put together a team that was fundamental from the goaltender out. You know, he used to say you build from the goaltender out, right? So you had Martin Brodeur, you had the greatest building block of all time in the back. Then you put in front of him some of the best defensemen that play in the NHL, and you didn't need to have, you know, a top line scorer that could put up 60 goals in a season because you had a fundamental team that from the first line to the fourth line, it didn't matter who you put out there. You could count on every single line. Being defensively responsible, being responsible, you know, in both or every aspect of the ice. Somebody that's going to win you a face-off in a timely manner. I see you cringing about what I'm saying, but it's true.
Well, the rules,
different times,
the rules,
different
have
times.
changed.
I know, different times,
different times.
So the rules have, the rules have changed now, unfortunately. And as someone, I can't remember who brought it up because Sam was saying we need to go back to play a defensive first, you know, like the Islanders, and someone brought it up. They're like, we need better defensemen to be able to do that first.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's the truth.
That's true.
And that's the thing.
Too, all right, so I'll flip this around. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, like, my question to you guys would be like, if you could put. And I hate to say this because it's still relatively early in the season. We're not near the trade deadline, but we're the ship is starting to go down.
What?
You know, we're taking on water.
No, we're almost halfway through, man. We only got like 34 games left or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's only
the trade
56,
deadline's a month away. Yeah.
So
trade deadline's a month away.
Then hey, we're knee deep in the water in the boat. We're sitting here looking at the goddamn horizon, not seeing the shore. So maybe it's time to start thinking about who we're going to throw off the boat.
I think that's what's confusing for everybody as well. Everyone's like, just give it time. Just give it time. It's okay. But it's like, oh, no.
We don't have time. We don't have time.
Yeah, it's only a 56-game season. That's why 2 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, how the hell did we even expect to do that in 56 games? You know, like going through everything. I'm telling you, man, we're going to be looking back and laughing in a couple of years.
Okay.
When we're in the playoffs and we're perennial, you know, and Holtz and Hughes
because we'll be there again.
And Nico. Yeah. Oh, we're going to be there. But but Chico really opened my eyes, you know, and like I started thinking, I'm looking at the team and I'm like, yeah, I can see Nico and Jack are my only definites I want on the offensive side. Zaka, he's been performing, so I can't really count him out. But everyone else after that, I'm like, you know. And on the defensive side, after Ty Smith, you know, it's like,
well, Peterson's been good
anyone there
this year.
Yeah, he's been good, but like I could, you know, I'm not, you know, I got a ring on. There's no ring on the finger there, you know. Like Carl from Aqua Teen with the mail order bride. No, we ain't doing no ring. I get roped into all that, okay? But like after Ty, I'll ask you guys the same question then. You know, like after Ty. Who on our defense?
The end of discussion. You finished the answer. You've answered your own question.
So when we freak out and say like, oh, the core is not even. I feel like our core is not even here yet. You know, like I feel like it's only there's some big pieces.
They're in the building. They're in the building.
Technically,
across the hall. Some of them.
Yeah. You know, maybe by the end of the season, that's why once this trade deadline hits, and maybe if we do ship out some pieces, you know, these are the guys that we're going to see come. Maybe we'll see Merkley instead of being, you know, Merkley's not even on the taxi squad now. He's at the AHL team.
He's hanging out in the hallways.
I think it's
walking around the rock.
And yeah, it's Brent Cini, Connor Carrick, Matt Tennyson, and there's one more person that's been flipping. Oh, Gusev, I guess.
Yeah,
technically, right? I'm not sure. Or no. If he's just a scratch, I can't remember. I think there's 4 guys though on the taxi squad now. But Merkley, Nolan Foote, those guys they're at AHL. They would have to be like assigned onto the taxi squad. That's why we haven't seen him. You know, we saw Merkley for a quick, you know, glimpse, and everyone was like, "Oh, there's a little spark plug guy. Reminds me of Billy Coleman." Like, hey, what's going on? Yeah, but he's been down at the AHL, I guess, getting more permanent, steady work, I guess, learning. Hopefully we'll see him by the end of the season.
You know, we probably will see a lot of these guys by the end of the season if it continues to go. If we're going down the road that we're going, you know, especially with Binghamton being across the hallway.
And Binghamton's a hot mess right now, too, by the way.
Yeah.
They are, but check out Nikita Ahoyuk. That's what Ahoyuk. I've been watching a lot of stuff with him. He's been really good on the blue line down there, working really well. Him and Ball. Ball's been on the second line D pairing, and Ahoyuk has been on the top line, and he's been playing really good. I see. We have these pieces, and we got to see if they work out. We don't know if they're going to work out, but we got to see. I think Jack and Nico were pretty safe on. You know, Pavel seems to be, you know, like in that right direction. Although, you know, we say second line, I eventually see him being like a third line center. You know, that's where I see Pavel Zacha. I don't know about you guys.
If we have the depth, yeah.
If we have the depth. Well, down the center, we got a lot of depth. Nico, Jack, Pavel.
So, okay,
Michael
let
McLeod,
me put a hypothetical.
Mercer.
My boy. Let me put a hypothetical out there, right? So you look at the players that we might trade. Okay. So I'm gonna name
everybody except players. Jack, Nico, Ty. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Well. Okay. So I'm gonna name a few players, and you guys, I want you guys to tell me what you think we can get back for them. Now, I have an opinion about this because, like, I feel like depending on how things look. I depending on how things look like getting towards the trade deadline, what teams are positioning themselves. It's really weird. Do we trade within our division? Do we trade to a team like the Flyers? Like, because that team might be desperate.
Caps,
That's the thing.
Caps are Bruins, yes. Teams
Yeah,
that
yeah.
aren't
Well,
really
the Caps
in
are
our division.
Bruins. That is true. That is true because you have only these 4 teams that
Sabres.
are trying to work their way in, right? So,
Mhm.
do you trade within our like whatever division right now? So, okay, the first one being, and we'll go one at a time. Kyle Palmieri, what would you get for him? Shorts guy, you go first. Or what would you want from him? What would you want?
Well,
what do you think you'd get? Head and heart.
I'm just going to go with what I think we can get right now for him. Maybe a second rounder.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that's it.
Second rounder. And what would it take to get a first rounder for him? Oh, Sam, jump into conversation, buddy.
There's no way after this season.
I'm just saying.
No way.
I'm just saying.
He's got to just go on a crazy goal scoring streak here.
Yeah, like 10 goals.
To get more than just a second for him would be him. Yeah, having to start lighting it up. I really don't see us getting more than a second for him at this point, unless the team is incredibly desperate. Which the way he's playing right now, I don't know if any team would be desperate enough to give more than just a second rounder for him. You'd probably have to package someone that with him.
Mm-hmm.
I told Sam the other day we need to call Lou and start shopping Travis Zajac and Kyle Palmieri, see if we can get our second back from the Islanders next year. That's what we need to start doing.
All right, so Sam, go ahead. You popped in. You might as well give your opinion on that one.
I don't think we're going to get more than a third rounder.
Oh,
Palmieri.
Ooh, man.
Mr. Pessimism
Right
comes
now?
into the conversation.
Yeah, right?
He's only got 4
Seriously.
goals.
All right,
But
so
his trade value will go up if he comes onto the podcast.
that's true. He'll be a bona fide first overall pick.
Oh yeah.
All right, so that's the first one. The second one would be Kulikov.
Trade him. Anything?
No, I'm saying these are guys we're going to trade. What do you think? We'll go to Shorts guy first. What do you think?
Third round, second round.
What do you hope? What do you think and what do you hope? Head and heart.
I mean, I would hope to get a first overall for anyone that we trade. But for him, third, potentially a second, but probably more likely a third.
Okay.
Yeah,
Scotty.
I mean, same thing. Trade him. I think we're going to be trading a lot of people for a lot of draft picks like that. I think we're going to be able to stock up this year,
but
next
that's
year.
Not the question is, what
Third
do you
round.
think?
If we could get a third round?
Third? Okay.
If we could get
all right, fair enough.
if we could get above a third round for any of our guys right now, I'd take it because they've been who is besides Pavel Zacha and Miles Wood, which who else has been performing that well? That's gonna warrant that. Palmieri on past performance, like he's not performing this year, and he's on an expiring contract.
Yeah.
Travis Zajac, past performance, like he's got 3 goals.
That's all we got right now. Is for most of these players, with the exception of Pavel Zacha, it's past performance. You look at it, you're like, but he can be great.
He could be really good.
good.
All right, so here's number 3. Miles Wood. Head and heart. What do you get for him?
Miles Wood, I think he'd be able to get a second round because of his goal total going back up. I think he might be able to negotiate a second round, or package him and get like a prospect.
Look at what you got for. Look at what you got for Blake Coleman last year.
That I was going to bring that up. That with the way that Miles Wood is playing right now, you could potentially get a very similar trade like we got for Coleman to a team that could use that type of player. It would depend on who the partner of the trade is. With
a late
the way
round,
that
first round pick.
Yeah. If that's a piece,
more importantly, a prospect that's already in the system that can come over. I like that.
And we could potentially get that if we find the right trading partner that needs a player like Miles Wood, who's going to go into the corners, go to the front of the net, muck it up, and be that guy. It really depends on who the trade partner is and what they're willing to give up to get the piece that they need.
He is one that I agree with Douglas on here. Mike Rossi says Wood second round and a prospect as well. I think we can. You know what? I much like Blake Coleman, even though I said this before. I mean, I would have to be blown away for it. But if a thing did come along, a la Blake Coleman, where there is a Nolan Foote type prospect with a draft pick, a second or third round like that, I would. It would be tough for me to say no to that sort of package. How old is Miles again? I gotta look.
Kincaid,
how old,
Kincaid is playing for the Rangers right now.
Oh, good for Keith. He's played for like every Patrick Division
25
team, right?
Miles was 25.
He is 25. Woo! What was Blake Coleman was 28, right? When we traded
28, 29. 28, 29.
Man, 25 years old. Yee. Ooh.
He's 29.
Yeah, I'd have to be really, man, for 20. Yeah, you'd have to be really. It's got to be a good prospect and a second round. Like if we could finagle some sort of deal like that, yes. Coleman-esque, yes. Other than that, Miles is one I would actually just because he's perfect on that fourth line down there. Like the fourth line's been great. You know, yeah. What's he got? 7 goals? 7 goals?
Bastian's been amazing. That kid is, and that's the thing about that fourth line is they are the ones that are going into corners. They're the ones that are throwing the bodies. They're the ones that are getting in the mix, throwing the gloves. Like they're doing what a fourth line has to do. Like you look at the Islanders, their fourth line is probably one of the best fourth lines in the NHL period. Like they got guys that can punch you in the mouth. They got guys that can score. It's you know what I mean? It's like the perfect fourth line. And that's what I feel like our fourth line is starting to evolve into. Like Bastian and McLeod being best friends and really clicking and kind of feeling each other out there is fantastic. You need that one other piece that keeps – I feel like they just need one other piece to fit in there, and I feel like Miles Wood fits in that line perfectly. And yes, that you don't have to label them the fourth line, but it is a fourth line. But
but they do good in the fourth line. Like when you move them up, to third and second line, they don't perform as well. They need to be down there in that role where they can crash and they can bang. And they also play like McLeod has got some real serious skill, and he could take advantage of that against another team's fourth line. But he is a big body that can get in there and play that physical style, use his speed. It's a good. But then that brings us back to our point. We got a fourth line, and now you got 6 other guys that should be playing, the third line.
Well,
we need those first and second line dudes.
Continuing with our conversation of tradable players, now we're going to go to a defenseman.
I would say yes, by the way. If blown away, Miles Wood, yes.
Okay. So the next one would be Murray. As a defenseman,
Ryan Murray?
Who's got potential. He's a UFA at the end of the year, so possibility of being able to move him. And you look at teams that are always desperate, a la Toronto, for a defenseman. He's very serviceable, and when healthy, he's damn good. When he's allowed to play, that's a whole other thing. So what do you think, head and heart? I could see a second rounder. I could see a second rounder all day, every day.
Because he does when he plays like today. I do think that was like I said. I was still disappointed the Devils gave up 40 shots, and but I did feel like Ryan Murray out there. I felt a little more comfortable with him back there. But he does. He just gets dinged up every single year, so it's tough to think that a team would give you anything more.
Former second overall pick. Ryan
I know. And you could see it. You could see the talent there when he's out there.
I think with Murray, you could package him as a performance-based trade where, if depending on what he does and how many games played, knowing that he's injury prone, it could start off as a third or maybe go to a second, or with a prospect or two, depending on what he's able to do wherever it is that he goes. It would probably kind of be like the Vatanen trade, based on performance. I think someone like him would probably be the best. That would probably be what would happen depending on wherever he was going.
So Omar is saying that Boston might be interested in PK. Wow, can you imagine that after the Montreal battles that they had?
Listen,
but he would be perfect up there.
He would be. I love PK Subban. Love PK Subban. Love him as a personality for this team, and Lord knows, going through the decades of Lou and just the unpersonal team that we watched and loved. Bland, like very straightforward Johnny Unitas haircut and suit and tie.
not even French vanilla.
By the way, shorts guy, come on, you could time your watch to that guy's haircut. I was
thinking the same damn thing. Oh man!
Now that guy,
comparing Johnny Unitas to Joe Namath.
Joe Willie Namath. That's when Homer's mom went off the rails. But
yes, it is.
Yeah, if we could. And when you found out that, here's a little side note. Okay, here a little Simpsons trivia. Homer J. Simpson. His middle name is J, J-A-Y, right? Or is it just the letter J?
It's just the letter J.
There you go. So both my daughters, their middle name is just the letter J. Well, it's because like all four of their grandparents, their first names start with the letter J. But it was also my little sneaking it in that my wife didn't realize I was doing a little homage to Homer Simpson as I was just the letter J. I mean,
she doesn't know yet. She's gonna know now.
She knows now. No, she already knows. She already knows. It's like, oh, wait a second. That's why you want to do it? I was like, oh, well, that and their grandparents all have the J name, so whatever. Anyways,
can't wait. Yeah, can't wait for your daughters to tell that story. My idiot
my dad. He called himself the Beer Baron. He drank beer and talked about Devils hockey every Sunday night, and he had to talk about the fact that I was named after Homer Simpson.
Just you wait, your sweet little girls. Give him 10 years. That's what's gonna be happening, buddy.
Dude, screw you, Dad. As they jump in the back of a Camaro. I forget what comedian said that. Or there's a comedian that said my little girl, and I just know one day she's gonna just jump in the back of the Camaro and look at me and flip me the bird and say "F you, Dad" as she goes screaming off into the sunset. But anyways, we digress. But the reason I'm bringing all this stuff up is because the team is unfortunately trajecting into that in that direction. And this was the other thing that I was thinking about the very beginning of the podcast when we started talking about all this stuff is now it becomes a moral dilemma. And I hate to say this, Devil fans, but it's true. The year that Connor McDavid was going to be up for the first overall pick, the Devils were finding themselves in a position that they were maybe going to have an opportunity to draft first overall. And what happened? Well, we strung together a couple of wins, and a lot of people will blame Corey Schneider for that for the rest of eternity. But we're getting into that same position where I know I want to watch them win. I want to watch them turn around. I hate watching losing. I am not one of those people that wants to watch, a tank team is the worst type of team, and it sucks. But when they're getting towards the draft and we're like, hey, man, we got the first overall pick, and we're still building, it's not terrible. And it kills me to say that.
We have a history. We have a history of this. We could have had Mario Lemieux too, but we won one extra game or something like that. So we have a history of it. By the way, going back real quick, I'm going to point this out because it's right there in the feed. Ray Leo said worse than a Camaro would be an IROC Z. If your daughter jumps in one of them, you're really.
Which, if you're a Jim Brewer fan, he had a show on MTV with Ellie El Camino. Anyways. We gotta get Sam. We gotta get Jim Brewer on and have him talk about that.
No, but you're right. It's you don't want to see tanking. You want to see winning, but unfortunately, it's just the American model of sports is you you reward the losing team. You reward the worst team with the best incoming player. And that's, as much as we would love to have that best player, really you would rather have your team have a string of 29, 30, picks in that neighborhood because you're doing well. You don't want to be constantly in this 1 through 5 discussion. So yeah, and it's like, with the way things are going right now, we're trending in that direction. But we also, you know what? You can't even guarantee on sucking and tanking and getting that first overall pick. As we've seen, the NHL likes to really screw with things. And
we've been on the upside of that, though.
We have been on the upside of that. But however,
Twice.
after last season, I don't trust the NHL to do anything right when it comes to the draft lottery, because, not for nothing, Detroit and Ottawa probably deserve to get Lafreniere more than the Rangers. Those two
100%.
teams, you can throw Los Angeles in there too. They needed someone like Lafreniere more than the Rangers did, but the NHL came in and there's a placeholder team for first overall. It's like, oh, good Lord.
That was the worst.
Like, how much more? So it's like, as I do not want to see us tank at all. I want to see us win. I want to see us do well, because I just don't trust that the NHL is going to be equitable when it comes to the stupid draft lottery anymore. They meddle with things and they screw it up, and then they get caught. It's like a little bit of historical reference. Alexander Hamilton, like, meddling with the early elections in U.S. history, and he was really good at also getting caught. And the NHL is in the same boat. It's just like so it's like it really doesn't matter where. If you finish in the bottom 10, you have a chance to get first overall, and if you're a top hot market, you have an even better chance, even if you finish in the bottom 15. So I don't want to see us tank. I do want to see us start moving forward, and plus these draft picks are not guaranteed.
Yeah, and that's the worst part.
I feel like I went nowhere on that rant, but I just ranted.
No. It made total sense. It made total sense, because you're 100% right. Because I think the pin in that bonnet is it's not a guarantee. So like, even tanking, like, a lot of people are like, oh well, if we're in a position, like, we might as well just suck it up and like watch this team lose, and then end up with a top 10 pick. And like, yeah, that's great. But then you can get a top 10 pick and it doesn't work out, and then you're like, I just had to watch my team suck balls for a year and a half, and nothing came out of it.
I will watch the team suck only if it's the players that I know are going to be on the team, and that the idea is, if they trade a whole bunch of people, and at the end of this year we have Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Ty Smith, Nikita Ahoyuk, Riley Walsh, Kevin Ball, Adam Foote, Nolan Foote, Dawson Mercer, Alexander Holt. Just saying, hypothetical. If those guys were all on the team by the end of the year and they were just, out there learning how to play, I would be okay with that. Well, I'm sure they wouldn't at first. They're so young kids. Yeah.
And that's
people that we're wasting time with, people that we're losing with, and they're not even going to be a part of our future. That's where the frustration really comes in.
120%, because like you said, if you're seeing, I think throughout all this stuff that we've gone through in the last couple of years, withholding that 1 year that we made it to the playoffs with Taylor Hall just going absolutely, ape, and putting the team on his shoulders. With all that withholding, like, as long as we see growth, as long as you can watch this team and you can say, damn, the future looks bright. Because if it feels like you're sitting in the seats and you're like, here we go, we're going to blow a third period lead. Here we go. Here's a washed up veteran who's stuck in a contract that's going to be an albatross for the rest of time. And I hate to say this, guys, but that's the road that Lou Lamoriello was barreling us down before he got kind of released, before Ray Shero took over. And if anybody disagrees with me, look at the lineup of that team the last couple of years that Lou was a part of this organization. As much as we all covet and love Lou Lamoriello, the end of his tenure here, he was putting together some of the worst teams that we've ever seen and relying on just like,
Just
gravitas
average.
of like,
They were average. They were average teams. They were like your definition of average. They're not going to go deep in the playoffs. They might get you berth just to keep you like kind of around 500. They were average teams. That's what Lou was. The Mike Camilleri signing.
Mike Camilleri, bringing Yager in way past his prime, bringing in guys that were like
fun, but
Ryan
it was
Clough.
just like we weren't going to go anywhere with those guys. And Clough was it sucks what happened to him, but like he was good behind the bench there for a little bit. He converted to for a little bit after he had the concussions. Ryan Clough,
sure,
yeah. But I mean, like it wasn't. I agree. I've said that, dude. I feel like Lou's time. At the end, it was time to go. We needed a change, and I think Lou needed a change as well to like come into the, to the
I think so too.
With a lot of this, like the social media stuff. Like, okay, great tradition. Everyone under the number 30. Who gives a crap anymore? Just like, I don't want all our old numbers, our old classic numbers being reused that fast. As soon as Patrick Eliash goes down, we have a nobody wearing number 26 or something like that before we can retire the number. Like, I don't want that crap. Give him freaking 52 or 53, or 50. Yeah. I don't give a crap about that.
Let them earn their way to a better number.
Yeah, and I think Lou's come into this age a little bit more with that stuff, and I think he needed to get out of him having that stranglehold on everything that he had with the Devils for so long, like to go to Toronto and Shanahan to be like, no, Toronto's not going to operate the same way as New Jersey.
Dude, he was a mob boss. He was a mob boss that went into relocation and figured out life. And now runs a successful flower business. You know what I mean?
In Long Island, in Long Island.
Yeah. He was a mob boss who got sent to Toronto on a relocation. Yeah. And then they're like, you finally got it. You finally got it, Mr. Giuseppio. Now you can go back to Long Island. And now you can open up that flower shop you always wanted. And it's the most successful flower shop in Long Island. That's what happened.
I disagree with all you guys. I'm a Lou loyalist.
Of course you do.
You're a Lou loyalist.
I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you what happened. It's not entirely Lou's fault. Remember.
Oh, boy.
The Devils were bankrupt. The Devils were bankrupt. After 2012. He's right on that.
He's right on that.
You take 6 months. No, listen, after 2012, right? Then there was a lockout. Lost revenue, and then Parisi leaves. Kovalchuk somewhere along the line saw the writing on the wall. They can't really pay me. They can't even afford to pay us on time. I mean, there were rumors of that, right? Then new ownership comes in out of nowhere. I believe in that July of August of that year. They had no time to prepare budgets. They just bought a team. Obviously, they didn't know anything about hockey. None of them did. They all came from the NBA. And then after that one whole year, right? So they came in 2013, 2014. By 2015, the new ownership group was probably like, hey, you can't be on Twitter. You can't do this, can't do that, blah, 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 blah. They let him go. Shanahan asked for permission. Boom, Lou's gone. So I'm not so sure if Lou really slumped. I think Conti did with his draft picks. Had a Swedish fetish.
What, are you trying to say Matt Corrente wasn't a slam dunk?
I'm talking Tenenby over Carlson.
Was it Halischuk and who was the who was Reed? No. It was a Reed Boucher. Oh, Reed Boucher.
Oh, the potential of Reed Boucher.
That
was one of those kids
potential. It's all we heard. Potential.
That was one of those kids. Yeah, that was one of those kids that kept on sneaking into the lineup, and you're like, this Reed Boucher, this kid's going to light it up. And everybody had their Bobby Boucher references all lined up on Twitter and all lined up in social media, and that kid never panned out, and it ruined everything.
And Ramona says...
And who's the other one? Wasn't there, didn't they have the two Swedish
Joe,
that one
Josephson, the glass jaw. You talking about? Mr. Glass.
I thought there was
Glass Joe.
Unbreakable.
Glass
there was
Joe.
another Swedish guy they got with Josephson as well that didn't pan out.
Adam
all.
Larson didn't pan out.
Teddenby.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
Teddy.
Swedish.
Man.
It all started.
Adam
with
Larson
Nicholas
didn't pan out at all.
It all started.
Well,
with
yeah, but he-
workforce.
He got us Taylor Hall for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Jesus Christ. You remember the days when we were so good? We used to sit back in the middle of the regular season and be like, yo, we're like 34 and 15 and 2. And it'd be like, what are we going to do for the playoffs, boys? Like, the playoffs were a guarantee.
Remember
I
back
know.
in the day when we were so we were so far and in first place and so good that we can fire our coach with games remaining
Oh, yeah.
in first
Oh,
place.
yeah.
Just
Claude
because
Julien,
we can do this.
Get out of here. Hey, Claude Julien, you got 101 points? You got 101 points? Get the F out of here, you dumps.
Yeah,
Lou
not
would-
enough.
Yeah.
Lou would just
that
be like,
rumor?
thank you very much. I'm going to step behind the bench now. Thank you. I'll take
Yep.
it from here.
Thank you for the setup.
I,
Thank you for the setup. Let's
You
go.
remember when we had a goaltender that would play like 70% of the, or no, 70%. What am I talking about? Like 90% of the
70,
games, and you just be like
70 of the games.
70
Yeah.
of the games, exactly.
did you hear the rumor why Claude Julien got fired? Did you ever hear?
Because
about
him
this
and Marty
rumor?
were not, like copacetic. Is
Well,
what I heard.
This is what I was told, or this is what I read. Actually, no, I
Oh,
actually
boy.
read it.
Mm.
Here we go.
He tried.
I
To,
think-
he tried
I-
to pick
Here
up
it
Sheldon
comes.
Saray.
No, I think John Madden shot the puck at Claude Julien and when Lou saw that, he realized Julien didn't have respect of the team, so he fired him.
Jesus.
That wouldn't surprise me though.
No,
Yeah,
there's-
he fired a puck
there's like
at
a
him
complete-
during practice, and Lou saw it like he had no control, like Julien didn't do anything back, like just took it, and then Lou realized
That's
like,
a
I gotta
problem.
fire this guy. Yeah,
if that was the case, that's a problem. Losing control like that is not good.
yeah. I don't know where I
you know,
read that from, but I don't know if it's true.
I heard it. I heard that him and Marty did not get along at all, and he was like giving Marty
That
crap
sounds-
all the time.
That sounds a
And,
little
like,
more...
bas- And like, if Marty
that was
lost
more
the
like
game,
Brent Sutter.
no,
No,
Brent
Brent
Sutter
Sutter,
quit because
a lot of people
no, he
didn't like Brent Sutter. A lot of people
didn't like Brent Sutter, but he also had a love affair with Red Deer and was like,
Yep.
I don't need the Devils because I got Red
Wait, he
Deer.
owns the team. He owns the team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was the thing. Is like he kept saying like he would like in press conferences he would say like, yeah, blah blah blah, like, we're doing it right here, but I got this Red Deer thing on. He always had like his eye on like his gumad. You know what I mean? You know what gumad is? He always had his gumad, and he always put his gumad first. And then he was always like, oh yeah, Red Deer, Red Deer, Red Deer. And then one day that was it. He left.
It was Red Deer.
It was Red Deer. He left for Red Deer, and where did he go? He just disappeared like into witness protection, like Lou did.
No, didn't he just
Yeah.
get picked up by someone though? Didn't
No,
someone
it's
just hire
Daryl.
him?
No. His brother.
Oh,
his
someone
brother
hired
did.
Daryl. Okay. All right, I saw
Our
that
former-
real quick. That's
Damn
why I
you,
didn't-
Former
Daryl.
assistant coach Jeff Ward just got let go by Calgary,
Got
and Daryl
and
Sutter took over. Yeah,
maybe we should bring Ward back to like fix our PK or our power play rather.
I remember meeting Brent Sutter at an autograph signing for season ticket holders, and I don't know
Mumbles.
why he did this.
Did you give him
But,
birdseed because he looked like a parrot?
No, but I did 10 put. I did 10 push-ups.
Easy Tiger, easy Tiger.
Yeah, I know.
Remember the last time
did
you
what?
compared people to poultry? All right, easy.
Yeah, I do.
Tiger.
I do. All right.
Easy.
Do we have to go back
Easy.
there? I had nightmares
No.
about that. All right.
That's why I said it in code right there. Okay.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And I'm not kidding. I had nightmares about that. Like, oh my God, we're gonna talk to him.
Yeah.
Well said, Boo. Are we about ready for some final thoughts there?
Ray Leo has some final thoughts. He says,
going on?
you're forgetting the best of all time, John Hines. LOL.
Hey, look, Captain Emotion doesn't get mentioned anymore. And you know what's sad is like the year the Devils. Well, yeah, Jesus Christ! You remember? Hey, look at Zach Parise. The beginning of Zach Parise's career. You wonder why he didn't want to stay with the Devils because every year he had a different coach, different system, different coach, different system. And you know, when we had Pat Burns, when we had Jacques Lemaire, when we had Larry Robinson, like when we had stability, the coaches that bring us to the promised land, you had a hard-nosed coach that would demand everything out of you, but at the end of the day, you would respect them. I think Lindy Ruff is. I think Lindy Ruff is along those lines. I think he's cut from that same kind of cloth. I don't know. You can't. A lot of people have called for the coaching staff to be fired this year. I almost think that you need to wash your hands, and that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother time, for a whole nother podcast. But that is something that we need to dive into because I feel like that this coaching staff, we need to give them a little, like Mark Recchi. Everyone's like, oh, the power play, the PK, blah, blah, blah. Whoa. Pump your brakes.
You can only do so much with what you have in front of you.
Yeah, pretty much. And
if they don't have the pieces, it's not going to work.
The pieces and the time.
Yeah.
You could have all the right things to make a milkshake and turn it into a bunch of crap if you don't have time to figure it out. Put that on a T-shirt, slap it on somebody, and walk them out into the street.
Deep thoughts with Beer Baron.
I've been into cabbage.
I just wanted to say real quick.
All right.
You know what? Final thoughts? Yeah, no. It's final thoughts. Final thoughts is, you know what? I was just thinking about how many times we've had people on from the Devils, that were under the tutelage of Pat Burns. And, it's a shame, that we lost him early. But I really feel like Pat would have been one of those coaches for us that would have survived a lot of the lewdness. And, maybe he wouldn't have, I don't know, maybe like Jacques, Jacques kind of came and went. But I feel like Pat Burns, he would have been like kind of like how Barry Trotz was in Nashville, is probably going to be on Long Island now. How Lindy Ruff was in Buffalo up there for so long. Just a long tenured coach that would have been, just 1-on-1 with the franchise, I feel like. Pat was just and you hear that just I feel like from the players. He was such a hard-nosed, disciplined guy, but they all just deeply, deeply respected them because he did care for all of his players as well. You just hear that whenever we talk to former players about him. So big shout for Pat Burns.
Mm-hmm. Is that your final thought?
Yeah, sure.
It seemed very fitting.
Yeah, why not?
I guess my final thought: great win tonight. Even no matter how they happen, no matter what, how they got to it. I can't even get to my thought. So my thought is how how the Devils play. Good win tonight. Scott Wedgewood with the 1-0 shutout. Good for him. The team played a little bit different tonight. Scotty kind of pointed out that they weren't at their best still. 40 shots, yeah. But whatever. They got a win against the Boston Bruins who can eat a bag of walnuts. Good for them. They got a win. And it's just like, it's nice. It's weird because I like normally if they win, I'm like, yeah, like I get so excited. But now I'm like, all right, cool. Do it again. Like, just show me you can do it again.
Yeah.
So let's hope that they can carry this momentum into the next game. That's my final thought.
Yeah, similar. We broke the streak. We won a game, but the schedule is daunting over the next 2 weeks, to say the least. Even though Buffalo is in the middle of all that, we can't even beat them. We have a daunting schedule. You know what? My hope is maybe they just needed that boost of confidence with the win tonight to really kind of get going. But a win is a win, and it's a potential confidence booster.
Go ahead, Sam.
Come on, Sam.
My
No
final
fun zone,
thought-
Sam.
Put a bow on it.
I just don't think you should shoot at your coach's head during practice.
Oh, wait, somebody. Sam, you posted or you sent us in the group chat that somebody posted, and I believe the story also had Lou telling the player to shoot the puck at Julian. And that's
That part I didn't know.
Airplane Strike Back. That's from somebody named Airplane Strike Back. Or Airplane Strikes Back. I don't know what the hell that's about, but whatever.
Remember that movie, Airplane? Maybe that's what it was.
Oh,
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm hoping.
All right. Well,
I just want you to know,
Clarence.
Sam Wu, we're all counting
What's
on you.
Clarence.
luck.
Clarence.
We're all-
What's our vector,
Roger.
Vector?
Surely you must be there.
Talk jive.
Excuse me,
Hey.
sir. I talk Jack.
Have you ever been to a YMCA before?
You never asked for a second cup of coffee at home.
I'll tell you what. That scene when they're in Africa and he's teaching them basketball, the local tribes basketball, and they just get it right away. They're doing like slam dunks. Oh, that's the best. That's the best part of the movie.
My favorite part of that whole movie is when he goes, when Riker hears about this, is really going to hit the fan. The best cutscene of any movie is cutting right to a giant pile of turds hitting a fan. Best cutscene of all time. Just
I picked a hell of a day to quit sniffing glue or whatever.
Oh my god! Classic movie.
All right, we got to get out of here. See you Tuesday on
Yeah.
post game. Till next time, let's go Devils.